You found your dream influencers, reached out to them, and received responses from a bunch of them. Now comes the fun part, actually negotiating and getting the deal done.
There are a few levers you can pull when negotiating with influencers. The most obvious one is how much you're going to pay them out of pocket. Beyond that, you can sweeten deals by promising them exposure too, since every influencer wants to keep growing. You can also dangle the possibility of a longer term deal with them, assuming the first one goes well. And finally, you should always offer free products, but can make it even better by making this nuanced, as we will discuss in a bit.
Influencer compensation is tricky. Since the market is still relatively new, there isn't a set standard. That said, we have an entire video on this on YouTube if you're interested in a deep dive. At a high level, financial compensation for influencers is broken down into buckets. Figure on paying 25 cents per average engagement for smaller accounts and 1 cent per follower on larger accounts. Depending on your goals, you'll know which end of the spectrum to work with. A platform like ours will give you a fair estimate and save you some time on this math. Influencers want exposure just as much as brands do. The bigger they grow, the more deals they can close, and ultimately, the more money they can make. If you have a sizable presence, use that to your advantage by letting them know you'll repost them to your page, leading them to get more followers and likes themselves. This should drastically increase your chances of getting a deal done. In some cases, you might be able to get a deal done on that basis alone if the influencer's account is significantly smaller than yours. Mentioning the possibility of a longer-term deal is hugely valuable when negotiating with any influencer. For the brand, they get a long-term discount by getting into a retainer deal. For the influencer, they have stability and visibility into their future cash flows. We recommend mentioning a long-term deal as a possibility, assuming the initial post with the influencer goes smoothly. This incentivizes them to put their best foot forward on the first deal and is likely to yield more responses and better results. One of the oldest tactics to persuade influencers to work with brands has always been gifting free products. At the very minimum, every influencer should be offered free product. How else are they going to create genuine content for your brand? If you don't want to personalize your gifts and you're willing to promote a range of products, consider giving influencers a budget and having them pick between their favorite products on your site. That way, you know they're interested. Finally, you could offer them exclusive access to products before they actually launch. The idea of VIP access goes a long way with influencers these days. Hopefully, we gave you some ideas on how to persuade influencers to work with your brand. Smaller influencers are generally less picky and easier to close something with. It's the larger ones that know what price they can command that get tricky. Leverage your exposure, long-term deals, creative gifting, and precise pricing to lock something in. That's it for our negotiation primer. In our next video, we'll talk about contracts and managing collaborations. See you there.